In Kiev, Ukraine carries on with an MMA warrior named Yuri Boyka. He is the best warrior in Europe and has acquired the title of Undisputed. One night, Boyka is battling in an unlawful match held at an underground field. As the group cheers, he doesn't allow the rival to get a solitary hit on him. After a short, uneven battle, he throws the rival in midair and takes him out. The scene changes to a most extreme security jail in Russia. The detainees partake in battles for the gatekeepers and the superintendent's diversion. Such matches are apparently agreeable to the rest of the world, however can get extremely fierce with the right members. The deadliest detainee ever is a monster of a man named Koshmar. He is forceful to the point that the gatekeepers need to chain his appendages and close his mouth to guarantee he won't hurt anybody outside the ring. Koshmar's rival is a portion of his size and can scarcely land a punch on him. He hammers the man to the ground, breaking his neck prior to continuing to smack him directly upside the head. The battle possibly stops when his face is twisted and canvassed in blood. Koshmar is known for killing each adversary he battles against, making them pay. He is to a greater degree a beast rather than a human and has no culpability for killing such countless individuals. Not at all like him, Boyka is a decent man beyond the ring. He hasn't had an extraordinary life as he was detained for a very long time and is a needed criminal in Russia, yet he has had the option to keep his previous aside and is attempting to be a superior individual. He even aids a congregation in Kiev and is continuously accomplishing good cause work. At some point, a minister lets him know that he ought to consider picking another calling. The cleric has consistently upheld Boyka's enthusiasm. Consequently, the remark puts on a show of being a shock to the contender. Boyka answers that his ability is a gift from God, and he isn't willing to quit utilizing it. He needs to battle as an expert, and not in an unlawful climate any longer. In the early evening, Boyka is moved toward by his administrator, who uncovers that he can at long last contend lawfully in authentic MMA matches. The European battling competition occurring in Budapest has permitted him to partake in the opposition in the event that he dominates a passing game. Then, at that point, comes the day of the capability match. Since it is one of the main battles of Boyka's life, he is prepared to give everything. His rival is a Russian man named Victor. The match starts and Boyka lands the primary compelling kick. In the initial couple of moments, he shows his guarding abilities, avoiding each and every assault made on him. As Victor gets more disappointed, it is simpler for Boyka to make an assault. The appointed authorities uninvolved are as of now dazzled, so when he takes Victor out with a knee to his jaw, it affirms his capability. Everybody thinks the match is finished, yet Victor shocks them by getting up. Seconds after the fact, he is thumped during a time, however, he will not acknowledge rude. At this point, Boyka is baffled, so he handles a third punch all over, thumping him silly. After the success, the coordinators welcome Boyka to Budapest to battle in the association, which will open numerous entryways of chances for him. The supervisor provides Boyka with a heap of cash, requesting that he train hard in light of the fact that the following match is in about 14 days. While leaving, Boyka sees that Victor is in a basic condition. He feels remorseful for harming him that awful and couldn't ever have made it happen, assuming he had surrendered after the main knockout. Boyka recalls the minister's recommendation and appeals to God for Victor's quick recuperation. Around evening time, he awakens to a bad dream of him killing a rival in the ring. The extremely next morning, he goes to the administrator and asks about Victor. To his shock, he is informed that Victor kicked the bucket the previous evening in the clinic. They had marked a pre-match contract, so the fault falls on no one. Notwithstanding, in his heart, Boyka realizes that he is the reason for the passing. After being gotten some information about Victor's family, the director gives him a sack that had a place with him. Inside it, Boyka finds a letter from Victor's significant other and their image together. In perusing the letter, he can feel the aggravation his significant other priority gone through when she looked into his passing. Right then, Boyka chooses to apologize to her and ensure she isn't dealing with any issues throughout everyday life. He realizes that his wrongdoing won't be pardoned, and after it's all said and done yet, he would rather not take off from the way of reclamation. Boyka enlightens the supervisor concerning his desire to go to Russia to meet Victor's significant other, yet the person is very against the thought. Boyka is as yet a criminal in Russia and will be detained whenever tracked down by the specialists. He should make a phony identification, which is a gigantic gamble now that he is so near being a real MMA contender. Boyka figures out the results yet is resolute about his choice. In the accompanying scene, we are acquainted with Victor's significant other Alma, who is at his burial service. After his passing, she is distant from everyone else throughout everyday life and has nobody to go to. What's more, she and Victor are obligated to a kingpin named Zorro. He comes to the memorial service and recommends Alma be his paramour to take care of her obligation. Alma is disturbed by his presence, yet she is mindful so as to not make him distraught. She basically answers that she will rather try sincerely and pay him in portions. Alma possesses and lives in a public venue. She and Victor constructed it with the cash they acquired from Zorro. The spot is home to many vagrants and individuals who are out of luck. On showing up in Russia, Boyka goes to meet her, however sees her being removed in a dark vehicle by a lot of men. It just so happens she fills in as a server in Zorab's underground battling club. He is exceptionally defensive of her and deals with her like his property. Sometime thereafter, Boyka goes to the battle club and tracks down Alma. At the point when he takes a stab at conversing with her, Zorab's kin stop him and escort him outside. Boyka needs to abstain from battling. Consequently, he pleasantly asks them what time she will get off work. The criminals assault him at the inquiry, yet are thus shown a thing or two for screwing with expert warrior. Zorab sees Boyka battle and is intrigued by his abilities. He has been requiring a decent military craftsman in his club and needs to recruit Boyka. Nonetheless, the man contends that he hasn't arrived to take part in battles. He just needs to meet the young lady. Zorab offers to converse with Alma for his benefit. Declining to allow him to meet her, however, Boyka once more can't help contradicting him and leaves. After he is carefully hidden, Zorab requests that his kin watch out for him. The next day, Boyka figures out how to slip into the public venue and meet Alma. He gives her Victor's letter and inquires as to whether she is being compelled to work at the battle club. Alma answers that she might want to work elsewhere, however is limited by the obligation. She then peruses the letter and inquires as to whether he saw her better half's last battle. Boyka tells the truth, conceding that he was the last individual Victor battled. He has a go at making sense of that the passing was a mishap, yet Alma won't pay attention to her significant other's executioner. Following the cooperation, Boyka goes to Zorab and consents to battle for him. All nonetheless, thusly, he should fail to remember Alma's obligation. The arrangement is that Boyka needs to win 3 matches against Zorab's preferred adversary. The hoodlum likewise vows to guard him from the police and specialists, since he realizes he got in Russia utilizing a phony identification. The following day, Alma meets Boyka to let him know she needn't bother with his pity. She believes him should get back, yet Boyka demands he is doing this for his own fulfillment. From that point onward, he goes to a nearby exercise center to prepare for the matches, however, is harassed by a man. At the point when the person continues to jab him, Boyka throws him down with a solitary kick. Then, at that point, comes the day of the main battle. Boyka conflicts with a neighborhood contender in a simple match. The opponent figures out how to land a couple of feeble kicks, yet is shown to be frail before somebody comparable to Boyka. He figures out how to wreck him, and is going to throw the last right hook, yet stops halfway. To his alleviation, the rival acknowledges rout, so he doesn't need to hurt him further. After the battle, Alma serves him drinks. Boyka inquires as to whether she knows about a decent nearby rec center in light of the fact that the one is going to right presently doesn't satisfy his norms. Alma mulls over everything for some time prior to welcoming him to involve the exercise center in her public venue. He prepares there for the following couple of days, and eventually, Alma becomes accustomed to his presence. Boyka's next match is a 2 versus 1 against a couple of siblings. He is stunned on the grounds that he was never told about the guidelines. Zorab flaunts that it is his field and the warriors need to carry on reasonably. The match starts and Boyka battles to protect the 2 siblings simultaneously. At the point when he attempts to battle one, different assaults, making it difficult for him to center. In any case, he figures out how to drive one away and wreck the other one in the seconds they take to recuperate. It is an equivalent match until Boyka is kicked in his generally harmed lower back. The aggravation is terrible until he sees Alma in the crowd and battles. From that point onward, he kicks both their butts and scores a 2-fold knockout. The group ejects into cheers, as nobody had suspected he would dominate this game also. The following day, Zorab goes to meet Alma and attempts to play with her. At the point when she avoids his advances, he blames her for laying down with Boyka. He likewise disturbs her up, asserting that her significant other's passing wasn't coincidental, and that Boyka intended to kill him. Alma claims to not accept him, yet the remark irritates her. In the meantime, Boyka's director from Ukraine gets back to him quickly on the grounds that he has a press meeting for the battle in Budapest. Boyka requests that he defer it since he just has one final battle to win. After arriving at his room, he finds Alma hanging tight for him. She asks him to come clean about her significant other's demise, and Boyka begins educating her concerning every one of the difficulties he has looked throughout everyday life. He uncovers that the primary portion of his life was loaded up with wretchedness, and the match against Victor was his main opportunity to get a superior life. He gave everything, and won, yet Victor's demise removed a greater piece of him. He realizes that tolerating his assistance is extremely challenging for Alma. However, he beseeches her to allow him to do what he needs to. Around evening time, for the last match, Boyka conflicts with Igor, Zorob's best warrior, who had been taunting Boyka since the day he showed up. Igor is particularly irate at Boyka on the grounds that he is a danger to his situation in the posse. He takes generally his dissatisfaction out and gives him rehashed assaults. He figures out how to set up an extreme battle, making Boyka's lower back his principal target. In any case, the bearing of the battle changes when Boyka lands a twofold mid-air kick on him. Following that, he beats Igor beat up, causing him to drain abundant leave until he drops. With this, he wins the whole competition and Alma's obligation is paid. Be that as it may, Zurab had proactively anticipated the result and ready for it. He stops Boyka and uncovers that he needs to battle one final person for their arrangement to be finished. Boyka just a brief time before his gathering in Budapest, which is extremely critical for his profession. Yet, he would rather not leave without saving Alma. Subsequently, he requests that the supervisor hold on until the following morning and prepares to battle the last boss. The rival is Koshmar, the monster who has battled and killed each of his adversaries in the Russian jail. He is brought into the field in chains in view of his brutal nature. The battle begins, however, Boyka is as of now excessively drained. He makes an honest effort, yet his assaults appear to cause Koshmar almost no damage due to his physical makeup. The monster handles a few punches on him prior to kicking him in the jaw. Boyka tumbles down in view of the effect and struggles with remaining back up. Seconds prior to losing the battle, he assembles strength and stands up, however, is again banged to the floor. At the point when Koshmar is practically certain that he has won, Boyka overwhelms him and pushes him back with a kick. From that point onward, the battle slants to his side. He holds the monster in an arm lock, breaking his right arm prior to removing him from the ring. With this, he at long last dominates the game, yet Zorab is as yet not prepared to relinquish Alma. He makes his follower assault Boyka while he attempts to take off with the young lady. Boyka is on the ground at his most minimal when he sees Alma being pulled outside. With restored inspiration and outrage, he goes after the gatekeepers and kills them all. Finally, he gets his hands on Zorab and handles him to the ground. Boyka is shot simultaneously, yet his agony is eclipsed by his outrage. In the end, Zorab is choked to death. Alma attempts to help Boyka, yet he stops her, inquiring as to whether he has her absolution. Sometime later, the police show up and capture him. Prior to being pulled away, he again asks in the event that she pardons him, yet Alma doesn't give him an answer. Then, Boyka is returned to a Russian jail. After a month, Alma stays with him and lets him know that he is pardoned. Boyka is feeling much better without precedent for months, despite the fact that his arrangement to turn into an expert warrior fizzled. In the last scene, we see him battling in the jail's field, proceeding to hold the title of the Undisputed.